Richmond, north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Living in
That is such a valuable piece of advice there.
These are the sorts of things that we should talk about right in the first 5 minutes of the podcast.
Started giving people free quotes.
In sunshine and rainbows, it is
Definitely a thing for just being a solo
The
operator.
change in mindset makes a massive difference.
Welcome to Aussie Lawnstars.
People listening in will want to know who you are and where you are.
So I'm Chris. I live down in Shell Harbour, down on New South Wales south coast, just south of Wollongong. Been doing lawn care now for 2 years, and
Chris,
loving it.
I've been trying to work out how to say your last name.
Oh, Guillaume. It's so annoying. It's the worst last name.
Guillaume?
Guillaume.
Guillaume. Okay.
Yeah. It's got silent L's. It's the most useless name ever. Who puts 2 L's and makes them silent in a name?
So if you were telling somebody how to say your name, they would have no clue how to spell it.
Yeah, I usually get Guillaume.
Yeah?
But you just get used to it. Most people just call me Chris G.
Yeah,
all through school, Chris G was much easier.
that's the way. I get G sometimes, Mr. G or G.
Yeah.
Or now that I'm a grandparent, because I've been a grandparent for a few years now, Papa G.
I like that one. That one's a good one.
Oh, I shouldn't have let that one out on the podcast. That's dangerous. Dangerous letting a family nickname out on the podcast like that.
No, that's all right. We'll forget about it. Don't worry.
Edit. So, Chris, you said you're working around Shell Harbour. So, for people who have no clue where that is, we're in New South Wales. We met at Sydney at the LLEE, but Shell Harbour wasn't too far from LLEE for you guys.
No, it took about an hour and 10 to drive up there, which was pretty good.
Right. So, I drove an hour from my place to Barowra, picked up Dan Ridley, he's a guy I've interviewed before, and then I drove from Barowra to the airport, which was another 45, 50 minutes, picked up Prez Madley, and then it was another 35, 40 minutes from the airport out to the show.
Yeah. Yeah, the show was way out west.
Yeah, that's it, which I'm sure was great for some people and painful for others.
Yeah,
but
no matter where you put it, someone's going to have to travel, aren't they?
That's right. I talk to a lot of people that are up north end of Sydney or around Central Coast, which is myself, Central Coast, Newcastle direction, and it's like, why couldn't they get up our way?
Yeah, one day they might.
Nah, they just need to find somewhere that works mostly and just go with it, I think.
That's it. You just need a big field somewhere. That's all you need.
Exactly. And it was a good spot.
Yeah, it was good. It was perfect.
Yeah. So, Chris, I've seen your name once or twice before the show, but the show was the first opportunity I had to actually have a chat with you. And listening to you, I'm like, man, we got to tell your story. So we want to give people a little bit of insight here, but I'm going to ask questions around what the hell are you doing and how did you manage that? Because it sounds too good to be true in a lot of ways. So,
yeah, it's worked out surprisingly well, actually.
Yeah, so let's go backwards first, and we'll talk about what you did before you got into lawn care, and then we'll talk about how long you've been in lawn care, because I think that's an interesting point too.
Yeah, so I was a personal trainer before I did lawn care.
Yeah.
I worked in Sydney CBD at Wynyard train station, for those who know Sydney, so pretty much right in the middle of the city. Was a PT for about 8 years.
Yeah.
And then this lovely virus came along and shut down my business.
Yep.
So we went and did nothing for a while. Had a nice little holiday.
Yeah.
Didn't get paid at all, so that was fun. Then when gyms reopened again, I decided to move to a new gym closer to home in Kingsgrove, because that's where we were living at the time.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit again, and we shut down for a second time.
Yep.
In that time, we were expecting our first baby. So we decided to move back down to Shell Harbour, close to family, where we grew up.
Fair enough.
The plan was to just commute up to Sydney 3 days a week and do personal training, and then just run the PT business from home the other 2 days. So I had trainers up in Sydney working for me.
Okay.
But during COVID, before I had the chance to do that, my father-in-law actually runs a mowing business. And for the past 5 or 6 years, every Christmas holidays, we'd come down here and I would actually go out and help him do his runs over Christmas.
Yeah.
I purely did it so that he could finish work early and we could watch cricket together. sooner.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
But he actually, I wasn't expecting this when I first did it. He actually paid me some money. I can't remember how much it was, but we finished the day and he goes, here's your pay for the day. And I was like, I just did this for fun, man. Like, this was just a fun day out with you. He's like, no, you worked hard. We did a good job. Here's your pay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I actually get paid for doing this. This is all right.
How old is he?
Sorry?
How old is he? Your father?
He is almost 60.
Yeah, okay. So,
He's been doing it for quite a while. Probably 15 years, I reckon he started doing it for.
yeah, okay. So not much longer than me. I've been doing it for 14, but yeah.
Yeah.
Similar.
So then during that second COVID lockdown, he said, why don't you start your own lawn care business when you move down here?
Yeah.
And I will give you all my excess leads that I don't need. He's like, he had a pretty standard business going himself.
Yeah.
And he was happy and he was going to give me all the extras. So I looked in. I did a bit of research. I didn't jump in willy-nilly. I did a bit of research, what's in the area, jumped on Google, see who the kind of competitors were going to be in the area, and saw that there wasn't actually too much online that I had to worry about.
Yeah.
So I had a pretty good feeling I could jump on and set up some sort of online presence and be successful.
Yep.
So I think it was start of spring. It was September of 2021 that I launched my website and set up Google My Business.
Yep. Right time of year.
And I kind of dipped my feet into it. As soon as I turned it on, I think within 2 days, I got my first client of turning on Google My Business and the website up and running.
Yeah, okay.
So, and then I got a steady stream. I think by the end of the year, I had about 15 clients. I wasn't taking it too seriously then because I was expecting my daughter in early January. So I was going to take all of January off anyway.
Yeah.
And then I officially kicked off again in March of 2022.
Yeah, okay. So it would have been quiet time. Everything's slowing down.
Yeah, so then I did both for a while. I did both the PT and the lawn care. I was doing the lawn care 2 days a week and traveling to Sydney 3 days a week. And then by June, I had already replaced I was already earning enough money to quit doing the personal training. And I was only working 2 days a week.
So June, so 3 months later.
So 3 months later, I had about 40 clients.
Yeah.
I was doing 2 days a week. So I was doing about 10 to 12 lawns a day on my own. So yeah, I stopped going to the gym, decided to commit to this kind of like semi full-time. I still had to look after my daughter with my wife. We had an agreement that I would work 3 days a week. She would work 3 days a week. And we'd have 1 day a week as family. So I had 3 days a week where I could actually work in the field.
Yeah.
I've worked 3 days a week in the field for the past 2 years. That's all I've ever done is 3 days a week.
3 days a week. Wow. Yeah.
And all I focused on in that time was efficiency. I was like, okay, I can comfortably do 10 lawns a week, 10 lawns a day by myself now. And I'm at capacity. How can I do 15?
Yeah.
So I just upgraded my equipment so I could do more lawns by myself.
So what sort of equipment did you start with when you got up to 10 lawns a day?
I was lucky that I had Darren, my father-in-law. The only investment that I made when I started was I bought a ute for $6,000. I paid for my website, which was about $300 a year through Squarespace, and I still use Squarespace now. It works great for me. And that was it. I got all the equipment that I needed for free off my father-in-law, and he knows a small engine mechanic in the area. And I just got beat up. They were beat up machines. They were bad. Like it was a Rover. I think it was a 16-inch Rover, and it was a 22-inch Toro, one of those front-wheel drive ones.
Yep.
But it was rusty. It was bad. Like if you looked at, I still got them. I kept them because I like to know where I've come from.
Yeah, fair.
And I got a Shindewa T270, which is actually I still use it. It's fantastic.
I think the T70 might have been the first of the emissions controlled ones, probably.
I don't know much about it. It's a beast, but I love it. And that was it. And that's all I had to start with.
Yeah, okay.
So my first big purchase to upgrade my equipment was I went from the Toro to a Honda. I bought a Honda HRC 216. which
Yeah,
is just it's a push mower still. I didn't know it wasn't self-propelled. I just got it. I'm like, oh, this isn't self-propelled. So I pushed these things. I just kept pushing it. I was a fit guy. I used to be a PT, so pushing a mower around wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, isn't it? I, go down this rabbit hole, but I was office job before I started lawn mowing, and so getting out on the field lawn mowing meant that I dropped about 10 kilos.
Yeah.
And I got a whole lot fitter. And then over time, I've gotten less fit mowing.
Yeah. So in the first years, I knew that branding was going to be important. So
Yeah.
I got a logo designed up and chucked stickers all over the ute, so I didn't look so much like a cowboy.
Yep.
I knew my equipment was beat up, but my ute still looked very professional.
Yeah, okay.
And I had a great website, which I didn't like. I didn't like how it looked, but it worked. So I never changed it for 2 years. It's
So
bringing
it's
the
still the
leads
same
in.
now?
I'm not touching it. It definitely looks like it's homemade, but for some reason it's relating with people, and they're calling me.
Yeah, well, that's the important thing, isn't it?
Yeah, so I was actually scared to touch it because I thought I might ruin things. But earlier this winter, I just redid it all myself, and I actually quite like it now.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's good. So still with
I
Squarespace.
think it works better now. I optimized a few more things on the SEO side, and it actually works better now than it did before.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, okay. So I guess one of the questions I've got there, and I know you're saying when we've been talking that you've built up quite a lot of customers now.
Yeah, a lot.
But the types of jobs you're doing to get 10 lawns in a day, and then are you doing? Did you get up to 15 lawns a day on your own? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, to this day, I can still do 15 lawns a day by myself.
Okay.
If my worker calls in sick, I'll just do 15 by myself.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So what do those jobs look like?
They are all residentials. Right now, we work off of budgeted hours, which I think is an American thing. I just started doing it recently. When you go to a job, you think how long it's going to take you to do, and you do your costs like that, and then it gets recorded into my system as a half-hour job.
Right.
So then I just book in 8 hours worth of jobs, and I go do all those jobs. So some jobs are 20-minute jobs, sometimes 15-minute jobs, some are an hour job.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I know I've got 8 hours worth of work on the schedule.
Yeah, okay. So you do have quite a variety of jobs in terms of the amount of time you spend on each job.
Yeah, they're quite varied. I say the average, because I've got a 2-man crew now that I work with, the average right now would be 15, 20-minute jobs.
Yeah.
But we are quite efficient now at doing our work.
Yeah, okay. So two-man crew being yourself and one person working with you as an offsider?
Yeah, might be offsider, yeah, real casual I've got hired.
And from what I understand, you do a lot of travelling for work.
A lot, yeah, so much travelling. So much. No, I'm lucky that I was super picky. Like when I first started, I did take jobs all over the place.
Yeah.
I think my furthest job when I first started was, I think it was about a 25-minute drive to the job and then back again, because it was just a job by itself, out west of Wollongong. It was quite far away. I remember driving to it like, why am I doing this for? It was a $50 job. I'm like, it's taking me 2 hours to do this job. By the time I drive there and back, it's ridiculous.
Oh, I've done some like that.
Yeah, so you just learn from doing, don't you?
Welcome to Aussie Lawnstars. Do you want to leave your job to create a profitable and enjoyable lawn and garden business? Aussie Lawnstars shares the stories, lessons and advice to help you grow a healthy, productive, efficient and sustainable business. Do you want more or simply have a question about what you heard? Contact Aussie Lawnstars at iCloud.com or look me up, Gary Ashton, on Facebook and Messenger for individual help. Business coaching helps you to have the right mindset and perspective when it comes to daily decision-making, planning, or knowing what to look for to improve your business. thinktankcoaching.com.au has helped me, and they can help you move towards your business goals. Visit their website or email them, thinktankcoaching@outlook.com. If you want to establish the best practices in bookkeeping, accounting, and business structure, contact Adrian from Prosper Financial on 0249 773363. And you all need to head to Lawn Mowing Contractors Australia and the Australian Professional Lawn Contractors Facebook groups for supportive communities focused on our industry.
So then I just slowly whittled down my service area to to be quite small. I'll just look at my CRM software now. All of my customers are within 1 mile of my house.
1 mile, 1.6 kilometers.
1.6 kilometers, and I have 100. On the book say 159 clients officially, but some of those are not quite regular enough for me to consider as a regular client. So it's probably about 140 would be an official number. All within 1.6 k's of my house.
So you're talking 1.6 kilometer radius.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But if you want to go even further than that, half of the radius is the ocean because we live in a coastal town. Another part of the radius is actually like a reserve, like a national park kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then almost right in the middle of it is an area that we don't even go to because it's all like housing commission people. We kind of do the perimeter of the radius of the circle.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
So they're all quite small. Like if you look at the two suburbs, I've got Flinders and Shell Harbour and Shell Cove, all in the same postcode, 2529. I think about 120 of my clients are in those two suburbs.
Yeah, that means that you can do a really good route density when you're planning your days, I guess. Yeah.
So the most clients we've done in a day is 25. But I'd kind of like to keep it through summer at about 20, just so we can keep ourselves fresh. It gets quite warm in summer, as you know.
So, yeah, I guess depends on how long a day you want to make it, doesn't it? Because I'm talking to people now. I used to do long days. So if I had a big job, I'd get out the door and get started mowing at 6 o'clock in the morning if I could on a site where it wasn't a curfew site. And I'd work through till 6 p.m, sometimes longer. So nowadays, it's a case of going, I am not going to work that long a day. So I'll start 6 or 7 in the morning, but I'm done by 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah, so we're a bit different. We don't start before 9. I don't want to start before 9 o'clock. I personally would hate if my neighbour started cutting the grass at 7:30 in the morning. So
I understand
we won't do it. If it's a hot day, if I know it's going to be like 35 plus, I'll call a few clients and say, hey, is it okay if we come to your lawn early? But usually we work from 9, our hours are 9 to 5, but realistically it's 9 to whenever the jobs are done. Most of the time we work 9 till we're done by 3 o'clock.
Right.
Just because we're so efficient. And I pay my guy a day rate, so no matter what time we finish the day, he gets paid the same.
Yeah, okay.
So he's some half time he's working for like $50 an hour.
Yeah.
That incentivizes him to work harder, gets me home quicker, and I know what my costs are going to be at the end of the day, no matter what.
Yeah, fair enough.
So it works for me, and I'll probably keep doing it that way, to be honest.
Yeah. That allows you to run a very predictable business model, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I sit here at the start of the day and know exactly how much money we're going to make at the end of the day.
Yeah. So have you been I think you said you're using Xero?
We use Xero for the accounting side of things, but I run Copilot for my CRM.
Yeah, okay, so you do run a CRM. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, so Copilot runs all of my scheduling and also all of my invoices are run through Copilot. Xero is purely there just so my accountant can run the numbers.
Yeah, fair enough. Does the back end, does the transactions through your bank account? Yeah.
Yeah, I've been using Copilot now I started just before July. And yeah, I love it. It's so much quicker than my old CRM.
Yeah, okay. So what were you using before that?
I was using this one called GeoNext. A lot of people haven't heard of it before.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard of it.
I wouldn't
either.
recommend it. It's probably great if you've got less than 30 clients.
Yeah.
When you're trying to manage 100 plus, it becomes a nightmare. Like Copilot will auto-generate an invoice for me as soon as I do the job.
That makes it easy.
I'm sure other ones do the same thing, but this works for me. Whereas on GeoNext, I'd finish a job, I'd get home at night, I have to go to the job, create an invoice, put in the dates manually, put all this stuff in manually. It'll take me probably 15 minutes to do one invoice.
Yeah, okay. So when you say it does it automatically...
This one you can set up automation. So as soon as I click job complete, it will send the invoice straight to the client.
Yeah, okay. So this is an interesting topic because I've seen it come up with ServiceMate and other CRMs in terms of how automated it is and whether it geotags your location where you're working, which would be interesting for you because all of your jobs are on top of each other. That would have a hard time trying to identify which job you're at if it was doing
It
the.
could, but we just manually clock in, clock out of the job. So
That's fair.
that kind of gets around it. The only issue we had, which I've talked to them about, because Copilot's actually quite good. They do like live chats every morning, so you just jump online and ask them whatever you want.
Yeah, okay.
In a video form like we're doing now.
Yeah.
But the main issue you have is when you're doing like two neighboring properties. And
Yeah.
I don't know how other people work, but we just do them at the same time. Like I'll do all the edging for both properties, and my offside will mow both properties.
Well,
So
that's where
there's
the
no-
issue of geotagging becomes a problem as well. But how do you identify which job's taking how long?
Yeah, that's the hard part. So right now, I just treat them as one big job. So I just clock in, do both jobs, clock out, and divide by 2. That's all you can really do.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's not accurate, but it's good enough.
I think that would be a problem if you had a supervisor that's not yourself doing the entries in Copilot.
Yeah. That'll be a problem
then-
for probably next year.
Then you have to revert to going, okay, do they do one job first and then the next job, or do they have a system that allows you to be happy as the business owner?
Yeah, but they run Copilot in America. The company called Augusta with Mike Andes, he runs Copilot. It's his software. But he runs over all 150 of his locations in America, so I can't see why it can't work for my small business.
Yeah, maybe that's a question you need to ask on the live chat when you're on there and ask how you deal with a supervisor, crew manager.
Yeah, you just give them access and they have to clock in and out, just be part of their roles.
Yeah, but to make sure that when they're doing, say, 3 jobs on the same street, they're parked for all 3 jobs. They don't have to get back in and out of the vehicle, but how do they?
Yeah, it's a learning curve. I forget to clock in and out all the time still.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. Always forgetting.
Yeah, so if you forget to, I guess you can go back in and estimate how long the job took, or
Yeah,
you already
can go
know
back
from
into
last
it.
time, I guess.
Because it counts how long your breaks are between, so you know how long your travel time is between jobs.
Yeah.
Or you just go in and manually edit it. So I know my travel time is going to be like 2 minutes, so I just go and change the start time back to 2 minutes, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Fair enough.
there is a way around it. It doesn't really affect much, because it does track your hourly rate, what you're actually charging, and it'll give you a effective hourly rate. But it's only accurate if you keep clocking in on time.
I think this is really interesting, though, for people who are looking at getting a CRM as to working out whether, like if they're working on their own, the logistics are not as significant as when you've got employees that are working without you supervising them.
Yeah. The biggest issue I have with Copilot is I can pay for my employee to have access to it as well. It's like an extra $15 a month, no big deal.
Yeah.
But it means that if I have 2 people on the same job, we both have to clock into the job. They haven't quite got it yet, so that I can clock in and he clocks in automatically.
Right.
So, because right now my labor efficiency is at 175%, which is just ridiculous.
Well, yeah, because it's not factoring in that you've got an offsider working.
It's not factoring 2 people. So, because all my jobs are set up as if one person's doing it in terms of the budgeted hours.
Yeah.
So it takes me half an hour to do it, but it will take us as a crew 12 minutes.
Yeah, this is all interesting logistics, though, isn't it? Because the more successful your business, the more you need to be able to track these things properly.
Yeah, especially it lets you know how much you should be charging. It has some AI built into the background that will give you feedback saying, "Hey, this person is undercharged compared to how much time you spend on the job."
I was talking to my son about this issue, and he's not running a business. He's just been an employee in a few different businesses, and about the idea of tracking employees and how long they spend on the job and how long their break time is traveling in between jobs, those sorts of things. And he's like, you can't track employees like that.
Mm.
And I'm
You
like,
have to.
well, yeah, you can actually.
That's the good thing about paying a day rate and saying, you get the jobs done, I'll pay you this much money, because they take shorter breaks. But the job gets done. Like, you can take a 2-hour break if you want to, but you still get all the jobs done.
Yeah.
So it works out quite well. And the software will actually also tell you, it takes into all your client addresses in and will tell you this client is outside the recommended service area. You should either get rid of them or increase their price by this much.
That's handy.
Which is handy for people, because if you wouldn't think of it.
Yeah. Definitely. Very handy.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm still getting my head around it. I've only been using it for about 6-8 weeks now, but it's saved me so much time already.
Yeah. That's great.
So yeah.
So have you had any hiccups around you using it in Australia and where it's an American software? So payments or invoicing or those sorts of things, tracking all those things that it's all
Nothing yet. It integrates with Stripe so that I can send an invoice and they can just click pay now and they can pay via their credit card on file, which is quite good. And then it clicks off the invoices being paid automatically as well. I was worried about that, but it just integrates with Stripe Australia, which is no big deal. The only issue I have is that we work every second Sunday for some of our commercial sites, but they tend to do upgrades on their software on a Saturday night in America.
Which is Sunday.
Which just happens to be our Sunday. So they do give you warning about it, which is no big deal. But it did happen when I first got it, and I couldn't access my schedule for half the day.
Yeah, that would be a problem, wouldn't it? I've had that numerous times a long time ago in my business where I was using Excel to schedule myself. So Excel and Apple Calendar.
Yeah.
And I'd go into Excel and for one reason or another, it would block me from accessing Excel. And you'd think that would be the last thing that would block you from having access. But when you're using Microsoft Office 365, you got to log in.
Yeah.
And if it wouldn't let you log in because they're offline, then I'd be sitting there going, I can't look at my schedule.
It becomes hard. So to get around this, they are launching an offline mode. So that'll fix the problem.
Yeah, that's important to do.
But that's the only issue with it is they update when I'm trying to work.
Yeah.
Efficiency is the thing that rules a business and the decisions you make as a small business owner. Right Mowers give you the options in their product lineup to match efficiency with size, fuel usage, and the type of jobs you want to target, from catching to mulching or side discharge, from roadside verges to acreages, and manicured lawns to 6 feet tall and super long. I've been using the Right Stander I 42-inch with a Catch Pro for manicured areas and the Stander ZK61 to maximise productivity for large open acreage mowing. If you need to replace your push mower, try the 32-inch Stander B. If you have more open access to residential properties, there's a 42 through 48-inch option that suits you. And if you want to enter the acreage market, the 52, 61 and 72-inch machines have choices in engine size and model type to suit the work you want it to do. Right Standards go the distance, saving you time and money season after season.
Thank you for listening to Aussie Lawnstars. Please remember to rate and review the show on the Apple Podcasts app or the player you use. Exciting new shows are released every Monday. Make sure you follow or subscribe to hear the next episode.